everyone, welcome back to BistroBuzz TV. Today we're going to be making some holiday cupcakes, so let's get started. The holiday cupcake today is the fried apple cupcake. The first step is to locate a cupcake pan, and I have one here. It has 12 different places to place your cupcakes, and then I have some of the little baking cups as well. You want to get that out, get it all washed up, and now we will get started on our next step. Here are all the ingredients you're going to need to make your fried apple cupcake, but all of the ingredients are Chobani, vanilla and cinnamon yogurt. I found this one to be the best one for the fried apple cupcakes. And you'll need of course, the cupcake little cake cups. You'll need the fried apples. You'll need the ground cinnamon, cinnamon sugar, eggs, pure vanilla, baking soda, salt, baking powder, butter, all-purpose flour, and sugar. So let's get started. We're going to start with 2 cups of the all-purpose flour, and I use the Pillsbury Best all-purpose flour, and some individuals have asked how I store my flour. What I do is I take it and put it into a Ziploc bag. I don't put it into the pantry without the Ziploc because sometimes the flour just gets on the shelves and I don't like that. So I do store the flour in a Ziploc bag. And we're going to start with the dry ingredients. So we have here the 2 cups of flour, and you'll need to get 2 different mixing bowls out. I have a very large mixing bowl for the dry ingredients and a smaller mixing bowl for the wet ingredients. So let's go ahead and add the flour to the large mixing bowl. The next ingredient I'm going to add is 1 cup of sugar. I used the Domino sugar, and again I also put the sugar into a Ziploc bag to place it into the pantry. This really helps for the sugar not to get on the pantry shelves again. So let's go ahead and add the 1 cup of sugar to the large mixing bowl. So that's going to be 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of sugar in the large mixing bowl. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon sugar. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We have added these ingredients together: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to stir this up really well, and I also have the oven preheating 350. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stirred up really well, and then we're going to start on our other ingredients in the smaller mixing bowl. Now we need to take the smaller mixing bowl and place the fried apples into that, and we're going to cut those up to where they're smaller pieces. Before placing the fried apples into the smaller mixing bowl, I drain the juice and put the juice into a measuring cup in case we're going to need it when we add it to the flour. Our next step is to cut up the apples, so we're going to do that now. To cut up the apples, I do use this kind of chopper. It works really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and chop up the apples, and then we'll get started on the next ingredient. We have our apples chopped up, and you can see I have some of the smaller size apple pieces. I don't want to chop them up any smaller than this because when it's added to the flour, I like for the little pieces of apple to be throughout the flour. So we have our apples chopped up, and now we're going to add the 2 eggs. We have added the 2 large eggs. Now we're going to mix those with the apples. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of the vanilla extract to the apples and We're going to add 1/3 cup of the Chobani vanilla and cinnamon yogurt to the apples, eggs, and vanilla extract in the small mixing bowl. We have added 1/3 cup of the vanilla and cinnamon Greek yogurt to the mixture. I'm going to mix this up really good, and then we're going to add the butter. We're going to add our 1/4 cup of butter to the small mixing bowl with the wet ingredients, and I use the Country Crock calcium butter. So let's go ahead and add our butter. What I like to do is mix up the flour one more time. Just make sure everything is mixed up really well. And we're just going to make a little place in the center for our ingredients from this small mixing bowl, and then that way we can just fold it over several times until we get everything mixed up. So I'm going to go ahead and place the ingredients from the small mixing bowl into this flour mixture, and we'll go ahead and start mixing. I placed the ingredients from the small mixing bowl into the large mixing bowl with the flour, and I'm just going to gently fold it together. You really don't need a mixer to do this. Just gently fold it. Just gently fold it. I do not use a mixer to do this because I think if you do use a mixer, it's going to mix it too much, and it's actually going to mix the apples a little bit too much, and then they'll be much smaller than what I really want them to be, or what you probably want them to be also. So just gently fold this over the flour mixture with the other mixture, and we will continue this until all of the flour is coated, and then we're going to place it into our baking dishes. So I'm going to continue folding this over until all of the flour is mixed up well. When you first add the ingredients from the small mixing bowl to the large mixing bowl, you'll notice that it's very, very thick, trying to mix up the ingredients. But as you continue to fold the ingredients together, the batter will become much easier to fold together, and you'll finally get a batter that's like what we're seeing right here. It's very, very easy to continue to fold together the ingredients. So you want to get all of the flour mixed up in the batter. And once you get to that point, what we'll do is we're going to add this batter to our baking dishes for the cupcakes. I've already lined the cupcakes, and I did have some holiday Christmas baking cups here. So I'm going to add the mixture to the baking cups, and then we're going to place this into the oven. We have the baking cups ready to go into the oven. We're going to place these into the oven on 350 for about 20 minutes, and we're going to check them at 20 minutes, and then we're going to add tin foil on top and let them cook the remaining time. So we're going to go ahead and place these into the oven, and we're going to check them at 20 minutes. Here are the cupcakes after 20 minutes of baking. I'm just going to check the center of these to see how they're doing. I'm going to place a piece of aluminum foil on top of them, put them back in the oven, and we will check them in about 15 minutes. Here are our cupcakes after 10 minutes of additional baking time. We placed them in the oven for 20 minutes, and we checked them. They needed just a little bit more baking, so I placed them back in the oven for 10 minutes, and they are done. So you may want to check based on your oven. When you take your muffins out, just check them in the middle with a toothpick or a knife to make sure they come out clean with no batter on the toothpick or the knife. And if it's clean, then they have finished their baking. So there you go, our fried apple cupcakes. Let's try one. Okay everyone, here's the cupcake. I cut it in half, and you can see the little apple pieces. This is why when I was saying when you are chopping up the apples, the fried apples, just make sure you don't chop them up too small, so that when you do cut into your cupcake, that you will have some of the apple pieces. Here we go, let's try it. The cupcake is very, very yummy. You can see it's very fluffy in texture. You can also see where we have the apples here, and I really like it to where you can see the little pieces of apple. And we use the fried apples that are cinnamon flavored. You can use the fried apples that are not cinnamon flavored, and you would use the pie filling. The pie filling is very, very good to use for these particular cupcakes. But the texture is very, very fluffy. The cinnamon with the apples provides more of a cinnamon taste if you like a cinnamon taste, because remember we do add cinnamon, and we add cinnamon sugar to the ingredients. But this is very, very good. It's very fluffy, very cinnamon. It's just very, very nice texture. So there we go, everyone. Fried apple cupcakes. If you make them, please let me know. Leave a comment, see how they were. And if you're making any desserts for the holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday, or the Christmas holiday, please leave a comment. Let me know what you're making. And I would love to know, because I would like to try some of the desserts that each of you are trying for your holiday season. And if you're trying any cupcakes or muffins or anything, leave a comment, let me know. Thanks everyone for visiting BistroBuzz TV, and please come back to visit us again soon. Thank you, everyone. Please like and subscribe and come back to visit us again soon. Thank you.